I was born in Brooklyn. Don't tell me which hospital, years ago. As old as I am, I doubt if I even knew there was a hospital then. I was born with, we were four sisters, and I was the youngest of all four sisters. To save my life at that time, and you gotta realize it's a long time ago, we were not wealthy. We were just like everybody else that you speak to now that is of my age. And they'll tell you how poor they were and everything else, but I don't remember ever being poor where we didn't have food on the table. No matter what the food was, we had food on the table. We were four crazy sisters. I had a mother that died very young. She was 46 when she died, and I got married when I was very young too. And my dad lived with me, and he was one of the swellest guys you ever want to meet. No, I should say more than meet. What else can I say? Then I grew up and I got married to Norman, my husband Norman. I was very happily married to him, I can say. As marriages go, you know, there's ups and downs, but I can honestly say it was more ups than there were downs. We went into business, and it was a very, very good business. We were in the dairy business, and I was the bookkeeper, which if they gave me a job right now, I said at the age of my age, I think I would still take a job as a bookkeeper. And I worked with my husband for about 30 years. And then my husband decided to come to Florida, because he's had enough. And we came to Florida, and I got a job working where I had because he didn't want me to go to work. I says, I'll work for 1 year, and I ended up working 11 years. And we were happy, you know, and all that. And of course, he died at 72, which was, me now, it's very young for anyone to die at 72, because I've lived 20 years after he did. No, not 20. I don't want you to think I'm older than that, because I'm not. And I have a wonderful time. I have wonderful, wonderful children. And grandchildren that I can't even explain to you, that they're married, they have their own children, but they call me. One calls me every day, two calls me every day, and one calls me once a month, and he said to the other one, the reason I call Grandma once every 3-4 weeks, because you call every day, she has nothing to say to you, but when I speak to her, she talks to me 1 hour and 50 minutes, he says, so I know everything that you speak to her every single day. I have wonderful, wonderful grandchildren. They call me all the time. And I just had 2 weddings, my 2 youngest grandchildren, my 2 girls. They just got married 4 weeks apart, and each wedding was more gorgeous than the next. And I wanted to live to see this, and God was very good to me and let me live that long. Why my grandson said, I have to take this because I want to make a star out of you. So we'll see how much of a star I can possibly be with his taking a picture of me and everything else. Oh, I remember going to school, and well, I want you to know, when I was so used to not being with my family, when I started to go to school, I didn't want to go to school. And my mother was a very quiet woman, exceptionally quiet, but not her 3 sisters. Her sisters were very outgoing. They should have been born in this century. They're always in different things, selling tickets to shows and doing things like that, or women do right now. And I want you to know, I didn't want to go to school, and every time they took me to school, I ran at it and I hid. And all my life, I've always tried to do the things I did, you know. I don't listen to many people because I feel that I can do whatever I want to do when I want to do it. It's not the perfect thing, but this is me. I think I'll live this way till the day I die. I don't like to be told what to do. Not that I think I'm so clever, but I don't feel like being told what to do and what not to do. And my grandchildren, to me, know just how I am. I talk to my grandchildren like I'm talking now to this, what my grandson has in front of me, and I speak to them very freely, and all of them, and most of them call me up for advice, and I'm very thankful and very happy for that. As far as my childhood was concerned, I had a funny kind of childhood, you know, fighting with your sisters, loving your sisters, you know what sisters are, siblings are. We never had a son. And the funniest thing, when I got married and I had a mother-in-law that was very, very, yeah, I say she was sly as a fox, you know? And she would say to me, how come you never had a brother? And that would used to be the family joke. And my husband had a wonderful family. They would come every Friday, and we'd play cards, and I really enjoyed my life. If you're going to put my whole life put together, from the time I was younger to the time right now, I can tell you that I really had a very good life, good, bad, or otherwise. At the end, it was always very good. We always liked, one thing is like I tell all my grandchildren, remember one thing, laugh and love. These are the two things in life that you should learn to do, is to laugh and love. Once you stop laughing and once you start loving each other, you're really nothing left. So I give this advice to my grandchildren, always laugh and always love. And the reason I have such a closeness with all my grandchildren, because if I have something to say, I'll say it. I won't tell their mother or father. I'll just tell the foreign point. I am that type of a person anyway. I never lost a friend in my life, because if I had something to say, I say it to their face, not in back of them. I mean, you can interview any one of my friends and they'll tell you that. I lived on a certain block when we were in the business. We lived on 66th Street in Mill Basin, and we had a time, that was, I can honestly say, 20 odd years was the happiest time of my life. Well, my husband too. We had this crowd and everyone thought we were crazy. And for my 25th anniversary, in comes my friend with two gay people. And they were women, and they were the most gorgeous, gorgeous things that you ever want to see on my 25th anniversary. And I think we were laughing so because nobody knew that they were gay, because they were starting up with all the men, and all the men forgot that they had their wives there. So I think that was one of the funniest part of my life, when everybody didn't know that these were gay, until one man says, let's go in a room and take pictures of them. Then they realized, you know, whatever. But I had a happy life. I can't say I didn't. Always happy. My favorite things, let's see. I used to like to dance. Well, not only that, I got to tell you also, I belonged to an organization after my husband died. He's dead really 20 years. And I belonged to this, it started off, I was in the grieving group. And well, I'm always trying to make things, you know, parties and things. I've always done that all my life. And I was the head of making parties and making people happy and all that. And then when my husband had died, I had met somebody, and I had gone with him for 14 years. And he used to say, you think they appreciate all the things you do? But I didn't do it for people to appreciate me. I did it because I wanted to do it. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to make parties. I wanted to make everybody happy and all that. And there's times I'm not such a doll. Believe me, if I get angry, I can honestly say I'm not such a sweet person, because you say how you feel, and if you're that type of person, say how you feel, and there's times you do get angry and tell people just how you feel about them. How can I tell you a funny joke? No, I was never good in telling jokes, because I always lost out the main, the last line. But when I was going with this man for 14 years, he was a very funny man. He would tell jokes, and he would make me laugh, and my husband too. My husband was a type of guy, type of fella that had such a straight face, and you never know if he was going to kid around with you or not. But he was very mischievous. He was very daring. He would do anything, you know. And while this other man was always afraid to ride more than 45 miles an hour for fear they'll get caught. So it went from one extreme to another. But their sense of humor and their kindness that they showed me in all these years, I don't think many people have that kindness like I have. Well, most of all, I want them to be healthy. I want my family to be healthy. If you ask me what I want from them, and that's what I want more than all, they should be very healthy and able to do the things they want to do and accomplish the things that they want to accomplish in life. And that's very, very important. And it's important for you to love yourself and think of yourself and think you're somebody. Once you think you're anybody, your life is just such a race and all that. And I make it a point to my grandchildren, be happy. Try to be happy as much as you can. I mean, you got to realize that at this stage of my life, I lost a lot of friends in my life, very good friends. And if you want to know what makes me happy, I like to gamble. When I say gamble, I mean petty gambling. And I love to read. I can read for hours and hours and hours. I've done that ever since I was a little girl, you know? And I used to love, oh yeah, when you say what I like most of all, is that when I was younger, I won an award for Sophie's Choice, which I have tried to find somewhere in this house to show people that I'm not telling a story. And so that's it. I think that was one of my accomplishments and not only that, but I'll tell you something. When I used to be able to speak, and I used to stutter, so I went back to Brooklyn College, you know, and I took 2 courses in English, public speaking, And I learned that you have to speak to somebody when you're making a public speech. You have to look at somebody in the audience and just look at that person in the audience, and it comes out. You don't have to study, you don't have to do nothing. And my husband would take me to Brooklyn College at night because he was afraid that I should go alone. And I'd stay there about an hour or so, to go to this particular class. And one day I was at the grieving group, and I was making a speech. And I was staring at this one woman. Well, she's not here anymore. I was staring at this particular woman, and she says to me, "Edna, why are you staring at me?" I said, "Because I learned in school, you gotta stare at one person." And everybody in the class started laughing, in our group started laughing. When I started with the group, the grieving group, there was 120 people, and then now about 30 people left. They either died, or they went to live with their children, or they went to assisted living, And yeah, of course you feel sad when you lose all these friends and you're still here, and you hold on to one or two friends that are left. And my two very good friends I lost this year, and I was very, very sad about it. I lost my sister a few weeks ago, in between the two weddings. So of course I didn't have chance to mourn her till after the wedding, and so that's how I felt. But I'm one of the lucky ones, because my grandsons, every one of their wives I get along so very, very well with. And they're so close to me that sometimes I wonder which one of my grandchildren through birth, or some of them that through marriage, but all of them through marriage. I'm very close to every one of them. I mean, they call me. When I'm with them, they're very loving, very sweet. I don't know how they are with their mother-in-laws, but with me, they're pretty good. Oh, well, the most experience I went with, we went to Europe, but he didn't want to go to Europe unless he saw a lot of United States. He says it's not fair to go to Europe and not go through United States. So he loved to drive. He loved to drive. So we went to on a bus. I remember that, and we went to bus, and then he would go through. The reason I went through so many states, about 30, 40, is because my middle son, was always transferred to another state. And we found that that's the easiest way to go through the United States, because he was always shipped around, my son Leslie, and that's where we went around there and all that. And we went through the United States, quite a few places, all these beautiful places we went. And then we went to Europe, and I was friends with this Italian couple. We were friends 40 years. And the Italian couple and all the people in Mill Basin I was friends with, and I remained friends for a very, very long time. And I went to Italy with my friend, and I was the only Jewish person there, and he would talk about me to his Italian friends, and I used to say, "Frank, what are you saying?" And he would laugh, because he would never say anything bad, and he was a wonderful guy who loved music. He loved music so beautifully, and we used to love to go there for dinners. He used to make special dinners Christmas time, and it was wonderful. It was just, well, I can tell you about a lot of wonderful things in my life. Who wants to think of anything bad that ever happened in anybody's life? If anybody gets up in front of you and tells you, "Oh, I had this, I had that," nobody's really interested, If you can't say something nice, and you can't entertain people with some of the baloney you tell them, or all the stories you tell them, nobody wants to hear you. They want to hear you when you're well. They want to hear that you're smart. They want to hear that you all these things. And of course, when I go to my club, they all want book reports. So one woman said, "Edna, you read so much. Why don't you get up and have a book report?" Well, these women said, "Oh, no, don't give me no book report, because I want to read the book." They never picked up a book in their life, but these are the women that say, "No, I don't want to know about book reports." 90 years old, but I didn't want anybody ever to know my age. And when I went with someone, I think I was 6 months older than him, but I never told him my age. And I think if I did tell my age, he would give a darn, because we really had a wonderful time together. I was one of the lucky ones that I had two times I went out. I was one of the lucky ones that had two wonderful men that took care of me. And some of them think I'm spoiled when they say about meeting a man. What would you want to meet now? Someone that you have to take care of? You get 90 years old, you can't do the things that in your heart you really want to do. You hope that you'll feel better to do something. It's a funny thing all the time that I couldn't say I wasn't feeling well at all, because I've been really lucky in that respect. But I kept saying to myself, you know, God, if you let me live to the 2 weddings, I would be one of the happiest people. Now that it's over, the 2 weddings, now I say to myself, oh, now I'd like to see the 2 grandchildren from my 2 granddaughters that got married. So there's not much that I want left in life, you know, and all that. I enjoy what I do. I go where I want to go. I got nice friends that take me, pick me up, because of course my daughter don't let me drive, but when she's not around and doesn't know where I am, I do drive. And when I know that I'm not going to be able to drive anymore, I'll be smart enough to not drive. Oh, as far as my 3 children are concerned, what can I tell them? They're very considerate. They're very loving. I mean, I really am envied because my children are so thing. My daughter is outstanding. She really goes out of her way for me, and I can be very nasty sometimes, you know, when I'm told what to do, what not to do, and that's it. But as far as my sons are concerned and my daughter's concerned, their whole interest in life is that I should be well and I should be taken care of.
So,
Well, when I lose my temper, I can honestly say, if you annoy me, I will say things to you. I'm not such a sweet person. At times, you annoy me, I'll say dirty words to you. I'll call you a filthiest names. My grandson says to me, Grandma, say what you want to say. How do you talk to people when they annoy you? And I won't say it on this. But I do lose my temper and say a lot of dirty words when somebody annoys me something terribly. Oh, I don't know. When you say favorite things to wear, I love to get dressed. I always loved to get dressed. I remember when I was a little girl, not even a little girl, when I got out of high school and all that, I always used to save my money, you know, and I used to go to Mays down in Fulton Street and go down in the basement with my older sister and buy a dress. But when I bought a dress, I had to have shoes to match. It was a crazy thing. To this day, I'm the same way. I like dressing. I love to go, and I love to do things. I like to go to shows. I've seen many shows in my lifetime because I had quite a lot of positions in my life. I was one of these women that couldn't sit. My daughter's very much like me, I want you to know. I can tell you about 10 jobs I had as a little girl. I had a job, a crazy job, which I can't even tell you on speaking about that. And I love to work. I had my own dress shop. I was a bookkeeper for 30 years. I did so many things in my life. So I think I've accomplished in my life a lot of things that I wanted to do. Oh, my accomplishment, of course, are my children, that I've accomplished all this. I have 2 sons and a daughter that takes care of me, who watches over me, too much so, I think so. And the accomplishments, having all these grandchildren. I think you're so Miss Wonderful, you know? And really, you have to be, in order to get in this world, you have to give. In order to have kindness, you have to give kindness to your grandchildren. Otherwise, if you're going to be strict and act when they call you, and they do call me and speak to me with very personal things, and I'm very happy that they think of me as a wise woman. Not that everybody thinks I'm so wise, but as a wise woman that gives them good advice. And I get calls from every one of them. I have 45, 42, you know, my grandchildren, I can tell you, comes down the list, and they all have children. And I have 9 great-grandchildren, 8 boys, and 1 granddaughter. And I want you to know I have another one coming on the way. And it's the funniest thing, when we went to the wedding, my granddaughter's wedding, the second one, Jessica's wedding, and I'm sitting at the table, and I said to my son, and all my grandchildren were sitting on one table, and I said to my son, see all those 5, 6 grandchildren that are on the table? Next year, every one of them are going to have a baby and be married, have children. And I think that's wonderful. I wished I lived to see some of it. If I don't, I can't. God has been very good to me up to now.
I happiness about you, about you. 'Cause I love you, a bushel and a peck. You bet your pretty neck I do. A doodle-doodle-doo-doo. A doodle-doodle-doo-doo-doo. I love you, a bushel and a peck, a bushel and a peck, and it beats me all to heck, it beats me all to heck, how I'll ever tend the farm when I wanna keep my arm about you, about you. 'Cause I love you, a bushel and a peck, you bet your pretty neck I do. A doodle-doodle-doo-doo. A doodle-doodle-doo-doo-doo. A doodle-doodle-doo-doo-doo. A doodle-doodle-doo-doo.
Say, when the skies are gray, you came my way, that's why I